So the Cowboys add a cornerback at round 3, pick 77. And it's the guy who we pretty much predicted, Cowboy Nation, because he was on the 30 visit list. He was a guy that they were targeting, and he was a guy that was, projected to go higher than where he was, and he fell to the third round. And it's Shavon Revel out of East Carolina. And I mentioned enough on my video. I found out about this kid when I was playing NCAA football because I did a dynasty with Eastern Carolina, and he was one of the main characters on there. So I was like, hey, man, this a guy we need to take a look at. It was just being funny. But listen, round 3, we picked up in a position. Corner was a very dire position because we have Trayvon Diggs that's going to be coming back from an injury, or sometime when he does that. Deron Bland just coming back from the injury. So how much should we trust that? We had like Josh Butler, like Troy Pride, and then we still got Kalen Carson, and I feel like that's the pick that really made this a dire need because the way Kalen Carson, his confidence got shot for the rookie because he was thrown into the fire, which I did not agree with to the begin with. You've been hearing me. We do a bad job of easing our rookies in there, man, and throwing them out there and just leaving them out there, man, just being high and dry. And so with that, the cornerback room was in dire need of some type of, upgrade. And I thought they was going to ignore it in the draft as the draft went on because other needs should have been prioritized. And we would just bring in a guy like Stephon Gilmore and just have numbers into the cornerback room. Maybe get a guy later on in the 5th round or 6th round. But they get a guy that's pretty high on their boards and they think they got great value. And I understand it is a great value pick because this guy was projected as high as the first round. So Shavon Revel out of Eastern Carolina. I know people's looking at it like, oh, it's Eastern Carolina. Why are you such a small school? Let me, pump the brakes on that just a little bit. You were finna sign a guy as an undrafted free agent because of his tape at preseason, and you should have. His name was Julius Wood, and he was the safety for this guy 2 years ago. So I'm just saying, like, he's anything like him, or if he's a higher, pedigree caliber player as him, then this will turn into be a good pick. Let me read you my notes when I scouted the kid. I did like the kid. I'm gonna be honest with you, but because the only thing is I didn't really push him when I was talking with Boss in the show we did. It's because one, the injury. Like I if anything, I will prioritizing somebody else because of the injury. But funny enough, I was pushing Benjamin Morrison, and he had a more serious, lingering injury. But he's coming off an ACL injury, 6'3", 195, number 28. Okay. Yeah, he of course he's an outside corner. Passer rating when people threw against him was 48.8. I think that was very good. 2 interceptions. What I really liked about him, and like I said, I'm gonna continue reading. He's a long rangey corner. Okay, not afraid to be physical. I think that's keep that in mind. I think that's what with Flus, got attracted to him the most. A violent tackler, excellent force defender. Defeats the corner in the corner block whenever they was doing the little bubble screen. He was much stronger than those guys in this situation. In one-on-one situations, he does play through the hands of the receiver. May need to improve his closing speed. So when it's time to recover, if he was able to get beat, and think that's all hips, that's all dexterity, that's all quick movement. Okay, he has great physicals, he has a long arm, he's a toolsy kid with great awareness, and on go balls he does get the head around to be in a position, which I do love when cornerbacks on the 9 routes, because that's a prime time when you get your head around. One, you put yourself in a great position to play and high point the ball, and also it's great for not getting a flag for defensive pass interference. That's the main thing they be looking at. Is if you just go up there and you just play for the high point and you just play through the hands of the receiver and you don't get your head around, the ref will always mark you as ineligible, or you're just trying to just get the guy out the way, and that's how defensive pass interference happening on those deep routes, when it's all about understanding when the ball is coming, because the moment you get the eyes on the ball, you pretty much have 50-50. You have free reign at the ball with the receiver, and I love it. So while I think I think, like I said, I think they like this kid because I teach you to keep that in mind with the physical aspects. Flus likes to play a safe, type of mindset. Like he's a base guy. He like to put the roof up, play cover three, cover four, just play the deep half or just the deep fourths or the deep thirds, and not let really anything get behind him. And he wants everything to be in front of him and force turnovers. And while I mentioned the tackling, if we're getting all the teams the underneath routes, and we want them to go the long way and have long drives, we're going to need strong and physical tacklers at the edge and corner spots. If we want to be stout versus the run, which Flus does, if you remember, we struggled defending the run not only in the interior last year, but also in the exterior last year. We were questioning our own guys, can they actually defend the run on the edges when it's time to do those power tosses? Remember, the Saints killed us on that, with the power tosses and out there getting us one on one with the cornerback, and the cornerback was out there making business decisions. Shavon Revel, the way he plays, the attitude he plays with, is going to come up and actually, be, like I said, a forced defender. And a forced defender is the guy who's responsible for if the player's going outside and we're trying to get the running back from going either for going east and west and going north and south, just to turn it back, and turn him back inside, because the pursuit of the rest of the defense is coming. And if he does that, you know on a great and normal basis, now we are telling the offensive coordinator to, like, hey, these outside runs will not work. We're discouraging the offensive coordinators. We're sending the attitude. That's, if you want to talk about physicality, this is another way to bring physicality. And speaking of physicality, that's been a word. That's been a theme and a word of Shoddy. He's been saying throughout this draft. He want guys who love football and physicality. Tyler Booker, the most physical guard in the draft. You got Donovan Izariku, probably one of the most physical pass rushers in the draft. So he's just not just a run defender; he's a pass rusher. And now you got Shavon Revel, who has a physicality type of mindset. All, like, if you was watching his film, his highlight plays, the plays that jump off the screen, is him coming up and actually being a very great tackler. Like, he's very aggressive. So, and I knew they're gonna like some of these corners being like that, because it fits right into the scheme. But shout out to Shavon Revel. I don't the one so live. I did not like the pick because I thought we should have targeted receiver. He's coming off an injury, and we're trying to replace a guy coming off an injury. So this is not a right now type of pick. And I hope they don't rush him back out there. I really don't, because we already got guys that are hurt. We don't need to rush more. I wish they would have went more on running back so we can have a clear decision. But they're funny enough, they are going BPA this entire draft. They're just going a more ignorant way about it. And what I mean by that, like somebody said, they're drafting like they're a championship team. Shout out to DMV. Championship teams, they would draft BPA, but you're not set up to go BPA. So you're gonna have some very great picks for the next coming years, and you got some glaring holes like that's going to hinder your team. And that's how this draft is going. Hopefully, day three, hopefully we get a fourth round pick. If they can just take care of receiver, mainly running back, take care of running back and receiver, I promise you, I will give this draft a A+ so far. I would. I just want a direction for the run game, and then just solidify another option that fits our scheme of the play action scheme. You don't have to go home run for wide receiver 2, but I just need a more viable option to drive competition in that room. But make sure to like and subscribe to the video. Comment down below if you like this pick. Yeah, until next time, Cowboy Nation. Peace.